Hello dear CMA aspirants from South India. As you all already know, Akash Agarwal Classes has launched for you all 100% English lectures in English for CMA Foundation students giving their examination in December 2025 and onwards. So here I am going to tell you how do you enroll in the batch. You just have to join our WhatsApp community which is given in the link. Fill up the Google form again given in the link and do download our mobile application Akash Agarwal Classes to access the notes. You all know the lectures which we are going to conduct will be 100% covered. There would be no subject which we are not taking care of. So we are going to take care of each and every subject, each and every concept. We are going to take MCQs for you. We are going to provide test papers. We are going to take live mentee sessions as well. Lectures which we are going to take for you all are 100% recorded lectures and not dubbed lectures. And you all know we have exclusive team ready for you all to teach you for your CMA Foundation December 2025 attempt for subject wise as well. And we are uploading the lectures on a weekly basis. All the important links which will be useful to you all are uploaded in the description box. Since we have many students who have cleared CMA examination at all the levels from Akash Agarwal Classes, and to reciprocate the love which we have received from South Indian students, we are here for you all taking lectures 100% in English, so that we can clear your CMA Foundation December 25 attempt together. So keep studying, do watch all the lectures till the end, and do show some love by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and putting up a word in the comment box. Keep studying. Bye-bye.
Hello dear students, welcome back to another lecture. Students, like you know, in previous lectures we have discussed about, and we have started with the new chapter, Statistical Description of Data. In that lecture, we have discussed all about what was statistical data. The statistical word, statistics, is derived from Latin word, Italian word, German word, and French word. Later on, we studied about two books named as Arthashastra and Aine Akbari. After that, we studied about first census. Later we studied statistics in two senses, singular and plural. After that we studied 6 divisions of statistics and their techniques. What are the techniques used? Application of statistics in state and economics, in management, in social, natural science, social science. Later on we studied about the limitation of statistics, collection of data, data and variable, discrete data, continuous data. What do you mean by attributes? What are primary data? What are secondary data? What are the demerits, merits, differentiation? What should we choose, primary data or secondary data? Later on, we also studied about methods of collecting primary data. And then after all, we studied published sources and unpublished sources were our last points. In today's lecture, we are going to study about classification and organization of data. So in first lecture, we studied all about what is data and what are the sources, what are the ways, how is data collected. Now we are going to study what is classification. How is your data classified? What are the ways of classification of your data? What do you mean by classification now? Classification means presentation. Once the data is collected, how are you going to present it is known as classification or organization of data. An important method of organization of data is to distribute data into different classes on the basis of their characteristics. So first the data is going to be collected, and then the data is going to be separated according to the type. So when we come to classification, the meaning behind it is the data is going to be collected and the data is going to be classified. It is going to be distributed in different classes. It is said to be classification. The methods. The process is known as classification of data. Classification is the grouping of related facts into classes or groups. Unorganized or shapeless data can be neither be easily compared or interpreted. The techniques of arranging the data in different homogeneous groups is known as classification. According to Horace Security, The classification is the process of arranging data into sequence and groups according to their common characteristics or separating them into different but related parts. These are the following objectives of classification. Objectives of classification means why do we do classification? What are the necessities and needs of classification of data? To eliminate unnecessary details, to bring out points clearly whereby similar points are pointed out, to enable one make comparison and draw inferences, to reflect the important aspects of data, to utilize data for further statistical analysis. So these are the 5 points, the objectives of classification. Why do we classify the data? To to eliminate unnecessary details. The details that are not necessary or not important, we can eliminate that. To bring out points clearly whereby similar points and pointed out. To classify, to identify, to understand the similar points. To enable one making comparison and draw inferences. To reflect the important aspects, to utilize data for further statistical analysis. These are the points. These are the points that are important, or it is must to understand these 5 points. Types of classification of data. What are the classification of data? So basically, what are the ways? What are the means by way which are excuse me. So what are the ways to classify the data? What are the mediums? What are the types of classification of data? First one is geographical data. The another is time series, or we say chronological or temporal data. Chronological data, temporal data, time series data is one and the same. Then other one is going to be qualitative or ordinal data. Fourth one is qualitative or cardinal data. So yeah, you have in this we can see 4 types of classification. First one is geographical. So you have to keep this thing in mind. You have to learn these things. That the geographical data, temporal data, ordinal data, cardinal data. Ordinal means qualitative, cardinal means quantitative. Geographical data is a data which is collected on the basis of geographical region. It might be some data of a selective region. It might be a data which is collected of a region for that time, for that aspect. So geographical data is based on geographical location. You have to keep that thing in mind. Geographical location, place. When the basis of classification is according to geographical location or place. According to area, supposing the rice production, state, country, etc. Temporal data is data which is collected according to the time. Time specific data. Chronological data is known as the second type of data is time series data. When the basis of classification is according to the difference in time. I'm going to collect the data and I am going to separate in different times. Like what is the time? What works according to time? Like let me give you an example. There's a time when we upload a video on YouTube. There's a time the YouTube gives me some data. The data is according to the time. The classification of videos, like which video works when, at what time, at what day, like Saturday, Sundays, mostly the data works in the evening time. After 6, the videos are more promoted, more likely people use YouTube channel. In normal days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the consumption of data is in afternoon time around 4 o'clock, or else in the morning time like 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So this is what? This is a data that has been provided to me. So I can make a decision when the video is supposed to be uploaded and when not. When can I get maximum reach? So this data is temporal data which has been provided by YouTube to a creator like Akash Agarwal classes or any other YouTube channel. So this data which is going to be classified according to the time is known as temporal data. Qualitative data. Qualitative data, let's come. Again, I have already explained you what is qualitative data. The data which is not measured in quantity, but what is the quality of the data. So the data which is more important or more qualitative can be classified. Apart from that, the data which is not more what you can say is more accurate data can be classified into another group. When the basis of classification is according to characteristics or attributes like social status, etc., according to distinct categories, population on the basis of poor and rich. Quantitative data is classification that is based on figures according to magnitude, discrete, continuous, such as height, weight, number of marks obtained by students of a class. So this is what qualitative data is. Qualitative data is what? Which can be counted. Quantitative data is what? Which can be counted, and qualitative data is what? Which cannot be counted. Next, what we are going to study is classification of data on the basis of frequency. So now we have seen types of classification of data. There are 4 types of classification. Now we are going to see classification according to their frequency. What do you mean by frequency? Frequency means like what is the occurrence, what are the times, how much time does the data occurs frequently. Frequency. Qualitative and quantitative data belongs to this group. Frequency will contain what? Qualitative and quantitative. Both the aspects come under frequency data. But whereas in non-frequency data, statistical or geographical data, chronological data, time series data belongs to non-frequency data. You have to keep in mind the frequency data consists what? Qualitative and quantitative. Non-frequency data consists of what? Geographical data, chronological data, and time series data. Whereas identifiability, the data is going to also be classified into what? Identifiability. How easily the data can be identified. How easily can the data be used to identify an individual is known as identifiability. Sensitivity, how much damage could it be done if the data reached the wrong hands, is known as sensitivity of the data. Like the crime rate, if the government collects the crime rate of any kind of data, it is not going to be a kind of sensitive data. Whereas if the data is collected for what is the economy, how much do people generate, income sources, or somebody's income, how much does he produce, how much does he earn, this kind of data is a sensitive data which cannot be directly given out into the public. Somebody's personal details, somebody's bank account, somebody's PAN card details, all these details are available with the government, but it cannot be openly shared with other people because the data is what? Sensitive. Scarcity. What do you mean by scarcity? Scarcity means how rare your data is. That means scarcity. If your data is very rare, the scarcity of data is less. The scarcity is more. That means your data is very, very, very rare. It is not easily available. How readily available is the data is the meaning of scarcity. Next, we are going to go on to the mode of presentation of data. So we have seen classification of data. Data is classified in various aspects. The data also can be classified on the basis of their frequency, non-frequency, identifiability, sensitivity, and scarcity. Other are mode of presentation of data. Mode of presentation of data are what? Textual presentation, tabular presentation, diagrammatic presentation. These are 3 types of presentation: textual, tabular, and diagrammatic. We are going to study when your data is presented in the textual form. It is just like a book. It is a whole full of numbers and whole full of paragraph forms. The data is said to be, it is in textual presentation. When the data is presented in a proper systematic way, which is easily accessible, rather than accessible, easily understandable, is known as tabular presentation. And the data which is presented in diagrammatic form, it is presented very, very, very in diagrams, in circles, in charts, it is supposed to be in diagrammatic presentation. So over here we are going to study that textual presentation is a bit difficult to understand, whereas tabular presentation is easy to understand. Diagrammatic looks good, but is not that easy to understand. So these are the points that which we are going to study and cover in textual, tabular and diagrammatic presentation. In textual presentation, textual analysis is the method, communication resources used to describe the interpret the characteristics of recorded or visual message. The purpose of textual analysis is to describe the content, structure, and function of the messages contained in the text. This is commonly used when the data is not very large. The textual presentation could work when the data is what? Data is not large. But if the data is very large, textual presentation makes it very, very, very difficult. A researcher is asked to present the performance of a section in the statistics test. Following are the test scores. The data presented in the textual form would be like this. In statistics class of 40 students, if the class is of what? 40 students, 3 students obtained score of exact 50. 16 students got 40 or above, while 3 got 19 and below. So this is a data. What are students scoring? This is data. But the data is in what? In a paragraph form, in a textual form. So this is known as what? This is known as your textual presentation. Whereas the data can be similarly present in tables. Understanding that data is going to be easier. That's the reason generally the student perform well in the test with 23 getting score, passing percentage 70%. This is all what? This is an example. The example starts over here, ends over here. The data which is presented roughly in a paragraph form is known as textual data. Whereas let's come to the tabular presentation of data. You have to mark this point, and this point is very, very important. A logical and systematic arrangement of data. What? A logical. This is going to be asked in your MCQs. So by MCQ point of view, this sentences become very important. A logical and systematic arrangement of statistical data in row and columns to simplify the presentation of data for the purpose of analysis and statistical inferences is called as tabulation. Objective of tabulations. Why do we present the data in tabulation? Because once we present the data in tabulation, it becomes very easy for us. The purpose of tabulation is to summarize lot of information in such a simple manner that it can be easily analyzed and interpreted. The objective of tabulation are to clarify the objective of investigation, to simplify the complex data. Why do we present the data in tabulation? That's the objectives are given over here. To what? To clarify the objective, to convert the complex data into simple data, to clarify the characteristic of the data, to facilitate comparison and statistical analysis, to depict the trend and pattern of the data. मतलब the meaning behind it is to identify, to help, to reference for further studies, to detect errors and omission in the data. So all these 7 points are to be learned and kept in your mind. The objectives of tabulation. Why do we present the data in tabulation form? This makes it easy to clarify the objective, to simplify the complex data, to clarify the characteristics, for comparison, to depict the trend and pattern, to help reference for further studies, and to detect error and omission in the data. So these are the objectives, the reason why we present the data in tabulation form. Essential parts. Now it is very important to understand the parts of the table. So I would make a diagram over here that would make things easy for us. Let's assume this to be a table. So the table consists of many rows and column. Many rows and column. Okay. So then there are many rows. Just give me a minute. Let me draw a table. Okay. So there are many rows and columns. So when we are talking about a table, this is a table, right? So first there's a table number. Every table has a table number. Why is this table number important? There's a table number. So because the data is not, when we are making a table, there is not going to be a single table. There are going to be many numerous tables. So at times when I want to give a reference for the data is in which table, so there should be a number. So that's the reason we give a table number. So to easily identify for which table we are talking about or which table we have to look into to analyze the data. So there's always a table number given. Many times the table number is given below the table, or at times it might be at the top of the table as well. But 90% of the times the number is given below. So table number is assigned to a table for identification purpose. It is more than one table in presented because there are many tables. It is the table number that distinguishes one table from another. It is given at the top or at the beginning of the title of the table. Generally, table number are whole numbers in ascending order if there are many tables. So if I'm making, to present my data, I'm making 10 tables. The first table is to be named table number 1. The fifth table is to be named as table number 5. So that's the reason they're telling that the table has mostly whole numbers and they are in ascending order. Like table number 1.1, 1.2, 3.1, 1, 2, 3. Table number, for example, table number 1.5 may read as fifth table of chapter number 1. So these are the way, by the way, which we try to give the table number to identify the table easily. Next, let's come to the title. Title is something which is the name of the table. Like what data are we presenting in this? Like the table number might be marks of students of CMA Foundation. So this table is telling me what? The table is giving me all the information related to the marks of CMA Foundation students. So the table name is going to tell you what the table contains. The title of the table narrates about the content of the table, what the table consists of. It has to be very clear, brief, and careful words so that the interpretation made from the table are clear and free from ambiguity. Ambiguity means confusions. It finds place at the head of the table, succeeds the table number or just below it. Then let's come to columns and stubs. So column is what? Column, caption, sorry. I mispronounced it. I misspelled it. It is not column, it is captions. So what is captions? So I've made multiple rows and multiple columns over here. So at times we name the columns. Like this might be a name. This might be particulars. This might be SAR number. And this might be anything else. Let's make it roll number. So these are the columns and these are the headings of the columns. Roll numbers, name, the particulars. So the heading of the column, heading of the columns are supposed to be captions. Are supposed to be what? Captions. Heading of the column are what? Captions. So when we are talking about captions, caption means what? Columns heading. At the top of each column in the table, designation is given for explaining figures of the column. Similarly, when we name the rows, if I have multiple rows over here and I name the rows, like my rows might be year 201. So over here, year 202. So over here, the data for 201 will be given. The data for 202 would be given. So when I am naming the rows, when I'm giving a name to a row, it is supposed to be stub. We are going to call it what? Stub. Heading of the row is what? Is stub. Heading of the row is what? Stub. So you have to just keep that thing in mind. Heading of the column is caption. Heading of the row is stub. Table number is the number that we are going to assign to the table, and the name of the table is going to specify what does the table contain. So let's go ahead and see the body of the table. Body of the table is what? Body of the table is the all important main content, the main data that we have classifying, the data which is going to help us. The main part is supposed to be the body, the main content, the main content for which we are classifying into tabular presentation is your body. Then we come up with the units. Like you might have studied in accounts, sometimes the column and the heading, the column and the rows, after that there's given, the units are given. Like the figures are in thousands, the figure are in lakhs, the figure are in crores. So there's a unit of measurement. The data is going to be measured in what? The data might be measured in kgs, the data might be measured in tons, it might be measured in acres or hectares. So what is the unit of measuring the data? Means the unit of measurement. Source note and footnote. Let's come to the source note and footnote. Sometimes the data has something that is to be mentioned. Sometimes the data, there's an important aspect which is supposed to be expressed. So we write a footnote. This footnote states something important note that is supposed to be kept in mind when we are studying this data. That comes under what? Your footnote. That comes under what? Your footnote. And similar to footnote, there is a source note. Source note is that from where have you collected this data? What is the source of collecting this data? The source note gives you a description of where the data is collected from. Let's see. It is a brief statement or a phrase indicating the source of data presented in the table. If more than one source is there, all the sources are to be written in the source note. Whereas footnote is the last part of the table. Footnote explains the specific feature of the data contained in the table, which is not self-explanatory. Some information which cannot be identified from the table, that is being expressed in where? In your footnote. So this is all about the table. What have we seen? There's a column heading. Columns heading is said to be captions. Rows headings are supposed to be said to be stubs. The body, the main content, is to be said to be body of the table. Footnote gives you extra things which are to be understood, and the source note tells you what? The source note tells you that what are the sources from where the data is being collected. Apart from that, there was a table number and your table name, title of the table, which specifies what is the main content, what is the table made for. So these are all the contents, essential part of your table tabulation method. So this is the format. See, I've already drawn. This is the caption. Caption is what? Caption is the columns heading. Then these are going to be your stubs. There's a footnote and a source note down below, and here's a table number and the title of the table. So these are all the contents and the things that are supposed to be understood in the format of the table. Let's go ahead. So there's an example over here. There's an example over here for your presentation. It is not supposed to be solved, as I've already told you. Statistical description of data, the chapter number 1 does not contain any numericals except for one. There's going to be a pie chart further. One numerical is asked on basis of pie chart. Other than that, from chapter number 1, no numericals are asked. Okay, so let's go into the next part. Comparison between textual and tabular presentation. This is important. You have to keep the things in mind. What is the difference between tabular and textual presentation? The tabular method is usually preferred to textual presentation. Which method is preferred more? Tabular method is preferred more than textual presentation, because tabular is easy to understand and it is systematically present, but whereas in textual presentation makes it difficult to understand the data. It facilitates comparison between row and column. Why we prefer tabular presentation because it is expressed in what? It is expressed in rows and columns. Complicated data can be represented using tabulation. The data which is complicated can be presented easily in forms of tables. Without tabulation, statistical analysis of data is not possible. Without tabulation, what is not possible? Statistical analysis. It is a must for diagrammatic presentation. For making diagrammatic presentation, it is must that we should prepare what? Tabular presentation. So these were the comparison between easy points, nothing to be worried about, very simple points, and you have to just keep these things in mind. It is not as important. But yes, let's get to the third point. Till now we have seen two types of presentation. One was your textual presentation, other was your tabular presentation. Now we are jumping into diagrammatic presentation. So in diagrammatic presentations might be anything. It might be charts, it might be diagrams, it might be pictures, it might be anything. By way, it is a diagram, but which is going to tell you, which is going to explain you about the data is known as your diagrammatic presentation. Those statistical data, you have to mark this, those statistical data which are represented through charts, diagrams, pictures, etc. is called as diagrammatical or graphical presentation. Unlike textual and tabulation of data, diagrammatic representation can also be used for both education and uneducated sector of the society. Further, an hidden value presented in the data can be noticed only in this mode of presentation. Some kind of hidden values that won't be possible to identify in your textual presentation or tabular presentation can be identified in what? In your diagrammatic presentations. That's what they are saying. Diagrammatic presentation is less accurate as compared to, this is very important point, it is less accurate as compared to tabulations. That means we come up to a decision that the tabular presentation is the accurate and very systematical data. So this is a point of MCQ, so you have to keep this in mind. So if there is a priority of accuracy, we should recommend tabulation. So there might be an MCQ when we have a priority for accuracy. The priority is what? The priority is not the looks. The priority is not easy to understand. The priority is for quality at that time, for accuracy at that time, we have to trust on tabulation method. In this chapter, we shall consider the following three types of diagrams. In this chapter, we are going to study what? We are going to study three types of diagrams. One of which is line diagram, the other is bar diagram, and the third one is pie chart. So line diagram, which is also called as histogram, and the other one is bar diagram and pie chart. You already have studied in the previous classes for your in your 10th standard, in 11th standard, in your 12th standard, the line chart, bar diagram, and pie chart. So there is nothing new as such, which is going to be very complicated or difficult to understand for you. But no, it is going to be easier. Let's jump up to the line diagram or histogram. Line diagram, I would mark important points only, and then we'll go to the diagram itself. It is simplest diagram as compared to other diagrams. So again, this comes what? This comes an MCQ point. Line diagrams are simple mathematical graphs. They are drawn on the graph paper by plotting the data concerning one variable at x-axis and other variable as y-axis. You have to keep this thing in mind. Let's come up to a table. This is what your line diagram looks like. As you have already known, and you might be aware how a point is plotted. There are points x, y. So you have to look into the x-axis. This is x-axis. This is y-axis. You have to, if I give you a point 2, 3, what does that mean? You have to see x-axis. In x-axis, point 2, and in y-axis, point 3. So this is going to be my point. 2 over here and 3 over here. So the intersection over here is going to be my point, and I would name this point 2, 3. So this is the way of giving the points. So first of all, we'll be plotting the points, the given data. By the given data, points would be plotted, and then we will be creating a line to create a point, to join the points. We'll be creating what? We'll be creating lines to join the points. So yes, this is known as what? This is known as your line diagram. to plot the points first and then create a line. So this is your the x-axis and the present y-axis. They are corresponding frequencies and presented along the y-axis. The diagram facilitates comparison. Even a time series data can be presented by line graph. Again, an important point. Your time series data can be presented by what? Line diagram. This is the point that you have to keep in mind. The time series graph is also known as histogram. Yes, all those things that I'm marking are important, and there are chances to be formed in MCQs. Okay, so you have to keep this thing in mind. So that's all. That was line diagram. Let's come up to the bar diagram. Like you have also studied bar diagram in your previous standards. What was bar diagram? Bar diagram is nothing. Just again, it is related to your graph. So there's a point. There's again x-axis and there's again an y-axis. What are we going to do? We are going to make such kind of bars. The bars, there are different ways of creating bars now. You have to study over here. But first of all, you have to try and understand what is bar diagram. Bar diagram is a very simple graph. It is very useful in comparing qualitative or quantitative data. So again, this is an MCQ point. Bar diagram is useful for what? It is useful for qualitative and quantitative data comparing, or discrete represented in form of bars. It is going to be presented in form of what, bachcha log? It is going to be presented in form of bars. It consists of a number of bars or a rectangle which are of uniform width. The width is same with equal spaces between the x-axis. That means the width, if I talk about the width is going to be same, and there is going to be a uniform same space between the bars. So the gap between is also going to be the same, and width is also going to be same. So that's all they are trying to tell. The length should be clearly visible. The bar should be neither too short nor too long. The scale should be clearly indicated and baselines be clearly shown. The width of the bar is not governed by any set rules. So width can be according to your choice, can be my choice. There's no specific rules given to the width of the bars. So there are different types of bar diagrams. Simple bar diagram that we have studied in a school life. Multiple or group bar diagrams, subdivided bar diagrams, percentage bar diagrams, deviations or bilateral bar diagrams, broken bars. So let me tell you, in school, like we have studied this kind of bars, like there is supposed to be a gap in between them. And also in schools, you might have studied a single graph is divided into multiple graphs, right or wrong? It is divided into multiple. So this is what subdivided bar graphs was, and multiple or group bar graphs were something like this. There was no distance between the distance between the bars. So these are all the ways these are all the types of bar diagrams. Simple bar diagrams, multiple or group bar diagrams, subdivided or component bar diagrams, percentage subdivided bar diagrams, deviations and broken bars. So these are multiple types of bar diagrams we can see over here. This is an example I've already explained. There's an x-axis, there's a y-axis, these are the units, there's supposed to be a bar, the width of the bar is same, and there is also a same gap between the bars. So this is bar diagram, and there are multiple types of bar diagram. As I told you, there is number of items are compared with the respect of 2, 3 or more values, then a multiple or a group bar diagram is used. In this case, the numerical values of major categories are arranged in ascending and descending order so that the categories can be easily distinguished. Different shades or colors are also used in each categories. Let's come up to the next type. The next type is what? Pie diagram. Pie diagram is something that we have already studied in our school life. There's a circle which looks just like a pizza, right? The way the pizza is divided into multiple parts, the same way your pie chart is divided into the parts. So these might be the parts, something like this. These might be the parts. There might be an also the smaller part over here look like this. So these are what? This is the data. The data is divided into 360 because the data is to be classified. Which is the most bigger angle? We have to calculate that. Which is the smaller angle? We have to calculate that. I already told you that no numerical question is going to be asked in this chapter, but except for your pie chart. So now is the time. There is going to be a one numerical question that is going to be asked in your paper, which is going to be for your pie diagram. Okay, we will be calculating one question. I will tell you how the calculation is supposed to be done. But first, let's read this. The circular graph, which represents the total value with its component, is a pie diagram. Area of circle shows the total value and its each sectors of the circle shows its different part. The area of the sector are always proportional to the angle at the center. It is used for comparing the relation between various components and between components and the total value. In pie diagram, the data can also be given in percentage form. The pie diagram is also known as angular diagram. So you have to keep this thing in mind as well. Pie diagram is also said what? Also said to be angular diagram. Method of constructing pie diagram. Okay, so there's no necessity of understanding the method. Let's jump into what? Let's jump into an example so you'll get an clarity. See over here. Draw a suitable diagram for the following data. So, what is the question? There are multiple things like food, clothing, housing, fuels and light bill, miscellaneous. These might be an expenses and human does in his monthly. These are monthly expenditures. So a person spends his 65%. Person spends his what? 65% of earnings on his food, 10% of his earning on clothes, 12% on housing, fuel and electricity 5%, miscellaneous 8%. So let me calculate first what is the total. If it is given in percentage, so it must round off to 100%. Let's check. 65 plus 10 plus 12 plus 5 plus 8. Okay. So it is rounding up to what? 100. It is rounding up to 100. So it is given in percentage. So it is very obvious that the total should be 100. But now we are going to present this percentage in a circle. And you all know the circle has 360 degrees. Circle has what? 360 degrees. So now I have to convert this data in 360 degrees form. I'll have to convert this data in what? 360 degrees. So we'll have to create another column over here. That is, we can make it angle, or we can call it degree, anything, because again your paper is not what? Your paper is not descriptive. This is a rough. Even if you don't give the name for the column, it does not matter. The amount should matter only. So yeah, the calculation is going to be 65 divided by total. The observation divided by total. So what is the observation? 65. What is the total? 100. And we have to convert this data in what? We have to convert this data in 360 degrees. So this will become 65 divided by 100 into 360. That means the angle for this data is going to be 234. So in the circle, when I'm creating a circle, my angle for the food must be somewhere around, this is 180 and this is 90, I guess. So somewhere around this. Your diagram for food is going to be this. Your part of food is going to be this part. Next, when I come to 10, again the calculation would be what? 10 upon total 100 into 360. Let me check. 10 into into 10 divided by 100 into 360 would be what? Your 36 degrees. So your food will be 10 degree only. Sorry, 36 degree only. Food will be 36. So this is 45. This is 90. This is 45. So 36 would be smaller than that. 36 degrees. This is what? This is for your food. This is for your clothing. Next, 12 divided by 100 into 360. 12 divided by 100 into 360 would be what? 43.2. So another angle will be something like this. Housing. Fuel and light bill. Fuel, and I can put a bigger angles, and this would be 45. Okay. So this is housing. And this is going to be again 5 divided by 100 into 360. I'll tell you a short trick to check whether or not we are solving it right or wrong. Okay. So this is going to be an 18 degree angle. So 18 degree, fuel. Another, the remaining one would be miscellaneous. It is going to be 8 divided by 100 into 360. 8 divided by 100 into 360 will give you 28.8. So we have already created what? We have already created angles. To check whether or not our calculation is right, what we will be doing is, we'll be adding the degrees. Like the first one said to be 234, right? So 234 plus 36 plus 43.2 plus 18 and plus 288.8 would give you 360. Because we have just converted the data in 360 form. That's only the case. What is going to be the formula? The formula is going to be very, very simple. The formula is going to be the value. Okay. The value you want to convert. The value, the data, the value upon total into 360. This is only the way. The way we used to calculate what? Percentage. In percentage, what we used to do is, we used to calculate the marks upon total marks into 100. Because we wanted to convert it into 100 in percent. But now we want to convert it into 360. That's the reason we are going to convert into 360. See, let's check whether or not our angles are same. Let's see. 234, 234, 36, 36, 43.2, 43.2, 18, 18, 28.8, 28.2, total is 360. So the calculation that we have done is right. So this is what there might be a numerical question asked for you in this the pie diagram. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's see what is tally bars. Tally bars, variable, tally marks and frequency. Okay, the variable is what I have already explained. The variable is something like age, income, height, intelligence, color. These are examples of variables. These are what? Example of variables. Any character which can vary from one individual to another. Because age, income, height, intelligence, color is going to vary from person to person. And that is what we are saying it to be variable. Age, height, temperature, etc. Whereas color, beautifulness, intelligence are the example of those variates which cannot be measured. So variable is something which cannot be measured. It is similar to what? It is similar to like your attributes. Then what is class mark? What is, tally mark? Like in 10th standard or in 9th standard you might have studied, if there is a number 3. If I want to convert this 3 in tally marks, I used to draw 3 lines over here. If I want to convert this 5, I used to draw 4 lines like this and fifth line over here. This is known as tally marks. A line that we are drawing. If I want to draw 10, it is going to be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 6 and 7. If I want to draw 14, what is it going to be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is what you mean by tally. Tally bars. It is a method of keeping accounts in a block of 5. What we are doing is we are keeping it in a block of 5. 5, we are making a set of 5, and the 6th one is going to be a single tally ahead. Tally bar. These are the straight bars used in tally. Frequency. Total number of times any observation occurs is given data is called as frequency. Frequency is what you have to understand, this total number, because this is going to be used in further chapter number 2. You have to understand this. This is going to be used in chapter number 2. We are going to use it. Okay. So tally, total number of items an observation occurs is given data is called as frequency. Frequency distribution over we can over see, so we see over here marks 1, 5, 12, 17, 19, 21. These are the marks that student is scoring. How many students have scored 1 mark? 2 students. How many students have scored 5 marks? 2 students. How many students have scored 12 marks? 5 students. 17 marks, 3 students. 19 marks, 5 students. 21 marks, 4 students. So this is the frequency, like how many students are scoring marks. 1 mark, 5 mark, 12 mark and 17 mark. So this is number of students. Total number of students will be what? Sum of f. And the frequency is given by f. Frequency is presented by what? Frequency is presented by small letter f. You have to keep that thing in mind. Let's go ahead. Some statistical terms. Range. We are going to study range again in central tendency and dispersion, next chapter that we are going to study. Central tendency and dispersion, we are going to study what? We are going to study range. The difference between the largest and the smallest observation. Difference between what, bacha? Largest and the smallest observation. L minus F will give you range. L minus F will give you what? Range. So over here, if you can see in this data, the biggest number is what? 21. And the smallest marks, sorry. Yeah, the biggest number is what? 21. And the smallest is what? 1. So the range will be what? The range will be 20. So this is what range means. Okay. So let's go ahead and see over here. Okay. Following are the weights of the in kg of 40 students in Akash Agarwal classes. So Akash Agarwal classes, there are 40 students. The highest weight is 70 and the lowest weight is 55. So what is the range of the weight? What we'll be doing is largest number minus smallest number. That is 70 minus 55. 70 minus 55 will give you 15. So 15 is what? 15 is your range. 15 is what, bacha? 15 is your no. Just give me a minute. Okay, 70. My bad. The smallest number is not 70 but 73 and 55. My bad. Okay. Smallest number and largest number we want. 73 is the smallest number and largest number is 44. Sorry, I did not see the data properly. So the largest number is what? 73 and the smallest number is what? 44. 73 minus 44 will give you what? 73 minus 44 will give you 29. So the range of number is 29. Okay, you have to keep that thing in mind. So range is what? Range is 29 kgs. Okay, and let's go ahead. The class. Okay, I'll draw a class interval. I'll give you a data. This is class interval. This is going to be a frequency. Like let's take an example. Okay, I'll be trying to explain everything by this example only. There is an example. 50 students studying at AAC gave a test of 20 marks. Gave a test of what, Bicharo? 20 marks. So I'm going to make an example over here. Class interval is going to be 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20. My test was of 20 marks, right? So what is the least score that a student can score? What is the smallest number that student can score? Is 0. And what is the highest he can score? He can score 20. So 0 is the starting and this is what? This is what? Marks. But the marks are given in group. Marks are given in what, bachalo? Marks are given in group. There are 50 students. From 0 to 5, there are 15 students who have scored between 0 to 5. Now the students might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or even 0. Now we don't know the details, but I know there are 15 students who have scored between 0 to 5. There are 35 students. Now let's make it 25. Okay, 15. There are how many students? 25 students who have scored. Let's make it 10. Let's make it what? 10. Okay. There are 10 students who have scored between 5 to 10. There are 15 students who have scored between 10 to 15. And there are 10 students who have scored between 15 to 20. So this is what? Number of students. 15 students have scored between 0 to 5. 10 students between 5 to 10. 15 students, 10 to 15, 10 students, 15 to 20. So these are number of students. What should be the total? Total should be 50 students, because at AAC, how many students have they given their exams? 50 students. So let's check 15 plus 15, 30 plus 20, it will sum up to 50. The summation of 50 is what? Summation of F is what? 50. Okay. So we are going to study one thing, that is class mark. Class mark. Okay. Which is presented by CM. Over here, I have taught you one thing, is that is class interval. What is this? Class interval. Class interval means group. What does class interval mean? Class interval means group. Class mark means CM. So the class mark, what does class mark mean? There's a formula for class mark. Class mark is nothing but the middle number. Middle number of class. Middle number of your class. Middle number of your class. Okay. So between 10 to 5, what is the middle number? So I have to find the class mark. For finding class mark, there is a formula. Upper boundary plus lower boundary. Now, sir, what is this upper boundary? Upper boundary is the biggest number of your class. Lower boundary is the lowest number of your class. Lower boundary and upper boundary. Upper boundary is your upper highest number of your class. In this, 10 is your highest. In this, 15 is your highest. In this, 20 is your highest. Lower boundary is 0, 5, 10 and 15. So in class mark, upper boundary plus lower boundary divided by 2. So over here, what is good? In first class, what will happen is 5 plus 0 divided by 2. 5 plus 0 divided by 2. It will become what? It will become 2.5. Next, it will become 5 plus 10 divided by 2, which is 15. 15 divided by 2 will be 7.5. Next is going to be 10 plus 15 upper boundary out. Same thing, but for your understanding. Many of you might get confused. 15 plus 10, 25. 25 divided by 2 is 12.5. Is what? 12.5. Similarly, 20 plus 15 divided by 2. 20 plus 15 divided by, just give me a minute, 20 plus 15 divided by 2. 35 divided by 2 will become 17.5. So when you are finding center point of your class, it is good. It is said to be class mark. So now we have seen what was class mark. After class mark, we are going to see over here, what have we seen? We have seen what is class. I have already told you 0, 5, 5, 10, 10, 15. These are classes. Class limits, the upper limit and the lower limit. 0 is the 0, 5, 10, 15. These are lower limits, which we also say to be lower boundaries. These are upper limit. Upper limit are also said to be upper boundaries. So upper limit and upper boundary is same. Lower limit and lower boundary is same. You have to keep that thing in mind. Okay. Lower limit, length or class width. Okay. Let's see what is class width. Just give me a minute. Let me check. Boundaries. Okay. Class width. So over here, I'll also make one more column for class width. What is this class width? Class width is going to be, now the class width is going to be the from 0 to 5. From 5 to 10. How many items are there between these numbers? How many items are there between these numbers 0 to 5 or 5 to 10? This is said to be a class width. What is the width of your class? So to find out the class width, here comes another formula. Class width is equals to lower boundary minus, upper boundary minus lower boundary. Upper boundary minus lower boundary. 5 minus 0, 5. 10 minus 5, 5. 15 minus 10, 5. 20 minus 15, 5. So what are the class widths? Class widths are 5. 0, 1. See, you will see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 5 digits in every class. There are 5 digits in every class. That is what is class width. Length of the class is what? The difference between the upper limit and the lower limit, which is known as class width. Okay, let's go ahead and see methods of classification. Exclusive method and inclusive method. You'll just have to keep thing in mind. Conversion and everything will be taught by me in the second lectures. But just let me give you an example. 20, 25, 25, 30, 30, 35, 35, 40, 40, 45, 45 and 50. 45 and 50. This is what? This is class. This is class. This is what beta? Class. Which type of class? This is exclusive type of class. Exclusive method. Yeah, exclusive class. This is exclusive class. Now, I'll present one more thing. 1924. 25, 39, sorry, 29, 30, 34, 35, 39, 40, 44, 45, 49. So these are the classes where you can see after 24 they have started with 25. After 29 they started with 30. So there is a gap. There is a gap over here in above class, which was supposed to be exclusive. In this you can see 25. Again it ends with 25, it starts with 25. It ends with 30, it starts with 30. It ends with 35, it starts with 35. This is what your classes are. This is what your classes are. This is what your classes are. Then further inclusive. Further is what? Inclusive method. In inclusive method, it ends with 45, it starts with 40. It ends with 24, starts with 25. Ends with 29, starts with 30. Ends with 34, starts with 35. So this is inclusive class. This is what? Inclusive class. So here we can see exclusive class. Ending and starting of the class is same. Inclusive class 24, 25, 34, 35, 44, 45. So you have to convert. Let me tell you one more thing, as I have already told you that we'll be discussing of inclusive class and exclusive class in next chapter in very detail. But for now, you have to understand this thing. For calculating or for solving, we have to convert inclusive, we have to convert inclusive in exclusive. We have to convert what? Inclusive into exclusive. We don't have any other options. Classes are supposed to be converted from inclusive to exclusive. Then and only then it can be solved. Inclusive series can be solved, but you won't get the accurate data. So the first step for solving is converting inclusive data into exclusive data. In next chapter, we'll be studying how to convert the data. Okay, let's go ahead. I've already explained the class boundaries. What are the class boundaries? The 10 is the lower boundary, 20 is the upper boundary, 20 is the lower boundary, 30 is the upper boundary. So over here we can see the lower boundaries and upper boundaries. What is the class mark? We have already seen upper limit plus lower limit divided by true is known as mid value of the class, which is similar to class mark. So lower limit plus upper limit plus lower limit divided by 2 is your what? Class mark. You have to learn this formula, frequency density. You have to learn these both formulas, rather 3 of these formulas. What are the 3 formulas? Frequency density. Frequency density, because frequency density's formula, directly frequency density's formula would be asked in MCQ. Directly. Nothing else. No numbers, nothing. What is the frequency density formula? You have to tell the frequency density formula. Frequency of class upon length of class, which means class width. Frequency of class upon class width. So what is frequency? I've already given an example over here. If I want to calculate frequency, if I want to calculate frequency density of first class, what is my frequency? My frequency is 15. Upon what is the width? Width is 5. So my answer is going to be 3. In second case, what is my frequency? Frequency is 10. What is the width? 5. So what is the frequency density? 2. So frequency upon class width. Frequency upon class width is going to give you frequency density. Okay, frequency of the class upon class width. Relative frequency. Relative frequency is what? Frequency of the class upon summation of frequency. That means the total frequency is column. Hopefully if you remember, the frequencies column was something like that, 15 10 15 10, and the summation was 50, right? So what is going to be the frequency density, relative frequency of the first class? 15 upon 50. Second one, 10 upon 50. Third one, 15 upon 50. Fourth one, 10 upon 50. So this is what? This is relative frequency. This is relative frequency. Frequency of the class upon summation of frequency. Percentage frequency upon summation of frequency into 100. So you only have to do is multiply by 100 for relative frequency. In relative frequency, if you multiply by 100, you will get percentage frequency. So these are all the formulas that you have to keep in mind. Cumulative frequency distribution, again CF. What is cumulative frequency distribution? Let me tell you. See, over here 30, 40, 40, 50, 50, 60, 60, 70. And the data are 8, 12, 20, 25. This is frequency, this is class interval, and we have to find cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency is presented by CF, and cumulative frequency is nothing but what is going to happen? The preceding one plus the current one. So 8 plus 12, 20. All the other preceding one plus 1. 8, 12 plus 20, 40. All of the preceding as well as the current one. 40 plus 25, 65. The cumulative frequency is adding back the previous frequencies. Adding back the previous frequency is going to be your cumulative frequency. It is going to be what? Your cumulative frequency. So that's what you need to understand. The last part of this chapter which is remaining is histogram, frequency polygon, frequency curve, cumulative frequency curve, and octaves. So these are the graphs or frequency distributions. So over here again you all are very well aware what is histogram, frequency, polygon. So we will be directly coming up to the diagrams. There is no requirement or no question is going to be asked to create a histogram, to create a frequency curve, to create a polygon. Nothing. This is just for your knowledge. No question is going to be asked on frequency, polygon, frequency curve, histogram, cumulative frequency, or octave. No questions is going to be asked. No graph paper is going to be given to draw histogram and anything else. You just need to know, okay, what is histogram. Sir, histogram just looks like bar diagram. Yes, it looks like bar diagram, but it is not bar diagram because there is no gap between the two bars. There is no gap between the two bars. This is what histogram. Then further ahead we go to frequency polygon. It is just like histogram, but we create points in the center of your bar, and then we join those bars, join those points This is known as frequency polygon. We create a shape which is a closed shape, and that's known as frequency polygon. So what is histogram? Histogram and frequency polygon is simple. Just what you have to do is we create points in the histogram in the center, and we are going to join these lines to create a closed figure, and closed figure is nothing but a polygon. So that's the reason we are saying it to be what? We are saying it to be frequency polygon. By joining these lines, I'll create what? By joining this line, I'll create frequency polygon. But until when these lines are not there, it is said to be histogram. When the lines are not there, it is histogram. And when we join or we draw some these kinds of lines, it is known to be frequency polygon. Next, we are going to come on cumulative frequency curve. So these are the two types of curve which you need to understand. These are curves. Points are drawn and a curved line is made. Points are drawn and a curved line is made. These are said to be ogives. These are said to be ogives. You have to see over here the line which keeps on increasing, which goes from the bottom left to the topmost right. It is said to be less than cumulative ogive. Less than cumulative ogive. The line which grieves up, the line which goes up is less than ogive, which is less than ogive, cumulative frequency curve. And the line which comes down is more than ogive, more than cumulative curve, less than cumulative curve, and more than cumulative curve. You have to keep this in mind, more than cumulative curve. What is ogive? Ogive is nothing but a curved line which goes from bottom left to top right, or which comes from top left to the bottom right. So these are the ogives which you need to understand. Again, there's no question going to be asked for how is an ogive created or what not. Nothing is going to be asked related to ogive. There only MCQ question might be asked. That's the reason I've already explained what is ogive. No need to do any kind of equation, examples, numericals. This is just given for your understanding purpose. This is extra. Your model does not consist example as well. This is only given in our book. So you need to understand frequency curve. There are 5 types of frequency curve. Bell-shaped frequency, U-shaped frequency, J-shaped, S-shaped, and mixed curve. So these types of frequency curves are important for us because there is a question which is asked numerous times. Which is the most common distribution, or which is the most common curve? So bell shape is the most common curve. You have to keep these all things in mind because MCQ is being asked from previous attempts and it might be asked in your attempt as well. Most commonly distributed are bell shaped as height, weight, marks, profits, etc. frequency is maximum. So it is most commonly asked. Frequency is minimum near the central part. That time we use U-shaped curve as maximum numbers of commutators during peak hours in morning and evening in Delhi. That's the to understand this. For example, these are number of people, number of viewers watching our YouTube video, and this is time. Okay, this is morning, this is evening, and this is afternoon. If I say that you have a bell-shaped curve, what does that mean? In the morning time and in the evening time, there are most viewers, and in the afternoon time, there are less viewers. That means minimum frequency near the central part. That means in the afternoon time and higher in the outermost time. Yes, so let's see ahead. Let's go ahead and see J-shaped curve. What is J-shaped curve? J-shaped curve is going to look something like this, J-shaped, which looks like J-shape, which goes up on increasing towards your right side is J-shape. S-shaped curve looks something like this over here, or a mixed shape. Mixed shape means there is no specific shape which comes under mixed shape. when there is going to be no shape, it comes under mixed curve. S shaped, J shaped, U shaped, and bell shaped. These are all the examples. Okay, so over here, your first chapter, statistical description of data, ends. So hopefully the lectures might have helped a lot. In first part, we studied all about what was data and how was data collected, what kind of data. And in second part, we have seen how is data classified, what are the ways and means to classify the data. So in the next lecture, we are going to solve numericals. No, I'm so sorry. In the next lecture, we are going to see the MCQs. So I'll wind up for the today's lecture. In next lecture, we'll see what? We'll see MCQs of statistical description of data. So yes, let me tell you again, Akash Agarwal classes has started what? It's English batch. So do share this lecture with all your friends. Get yourself enrolled into the WhatsApp group. The link of the WhatsApp group is given in the description so that you'll get the updates on the latest videos that we are uploading on our YouTube channel related to the English content. So yes, do like the video, share with your friends. Do let me know in the video like how did you like the video or not? What were your thoughts? Please do let me know in the comments. And yes, do share with your friends. Till then, see you. Keep studying. Bye bye. We'll meet in the next lecture for MCQs.